Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live, a first of two huge Premier League games this afternoon, and we start at Villa Park, where Aston Villa and Tottenham are in the race for Champions League football next season. Villa haven't tasted European Cup action in over 40 years. Spurs got to a final 5 years ago. They want to get back into the competition that delivered such great times under a previous manager. Ange Postecoglou and Unai Emery, very different successes in European terms, but one thing is for certain, these two teams are well capable of a top four place, and a lot of quality on show today. That is our first of two huge games this afternoon before we round off the afternoon with a matchup of matchups at Anfield as Liverpool welcome Manchester City in the title race. They were the top two before the weekend. Arsenal got over both of them yesterday with their late win against Brentford at the Emirates, winning by 2-1. Kai Havertz with the winner. Liverpool and Man City looking to grasp top spot if they win this afternoon. Mixed in between, there's two 2 o'clock kickoffs as well: Brighton, Nottingham Forest, and West Ham, Burnley. We'll keep you an eye on both of those games throughout this afternoon. To the teams for this afternoon at Villa Park. We start with Aston Villa, and Emi Martinez continues in goal. Unsure as to whether it's a back five or a back four from Villa. Some hints it could be a back four, as Esri Konsa, Pau Torres, Clement Longley and Luca Dean make up that defence. It's Matty Cash's position that is we're unsure about. Could be in midfield alongside Douglas Luiz, John McGinn the captain and Yuri Tielemans, with a front two of Leon Bailey and Ollie Watkins leading the line for Aston Villa. Key players on the bench as well, with the likes of Zaniolo and Rodgers and Diaby that can make the difference in those attacking areas. For Spurs, Vicario starts in goal, a back four for them of Pedro Porro, Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven and Destiny Udogie, a very reliable back four for Ange Postecoglou. A midfield three of Yves Bissouma, Pap Sarr and James Maddison, who returns, and a front three of Dejan Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, who gets his chance in the front three, alongside leading the line their captain Heung-min Son. On the bench is Timo Werner, who drops for Brennan Johnson. Lo Celso Bentancur as well can make a big impact off the bench if needs be. These two sides want Champions League football at their respective grounds again, but only one can get it. Top four is at stake, and a big gap could be broken depending on the result this afternoon. Kickoff from Villa Park in the race for the top four between Aston Villa and Spurs is next. Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live, the race for the top four. It's Aston Villa against Spurs on a day where a lot is at stake for the results of the season. Aston Villa and Spurs in that race for top four. A 5-point gap between the two teams as it stands at the moment. Before kickoff, let's just show you that for you there. 5 points the gap, but Spurs crucially have a game in hand, so it's very important that Villa get at least a point out of this game today. They'll want all three. Spurs could, if they get 3 points with their game in hand, could, when they play the level amount of games, would be a point above Aston Villa in the table. This is huge for the top four race, and as you can see, our two competitors later this afternoon, Liverpool and Man City, looking to get top spots back in the Premier League table. Right. Almost ready to get underway then at Villa Park. These two sides, well, they've been really impressive this season. Two sides that weren't kind of hot favourites to be in a top four race this season. New manager in Ange Postecoglou for Spurs, Unai Emery, and a difficult spot getting Villa European football last season, but they have kicked on massively this season. At one point, we're even pushing towards the top of the table in a title race of some sorts very early in the season. And we're underway then. Aston Villa, of course, in their home kit of claret and blue, and Spurs, no need for a change, so they're also in their home strip of all white this afternoon. And it looks like from what I can see early doors, Villa might be approaching a back five. Indeed, we were unsure coming into the game. Initially it was reported as a back five, then a back four, with Matty Cash maybe pushing a bit further forward, but at the minute, from what I can see, it looks like a very solid back five. Matty Cash, the right wing back, Luca Digne, the right left wing back, and then Koncic dropping in as that third centre half alongside Pau Torres and Clement Longley. Of course, Ezri Konsa has been playing at times as a kind of backup right back this season. Of course, traditionally his main position is centre back, so could be back in his known position, his favoured position this afternoon. Spurs try and play it down the line there, but that was a bit wayward from Pedro Porro. Will be a Villa throw, which Matty Cash will take, although the referee wanting him a bit further back. He stole too many yards there, according to the referee, so he will take it again. Matty Cash, second shot at it. And referee this afternoon is Chris Kavanagh. The VAR, Tim Robinson. I always say it, let's hope for no VAR intervention. Let's just hope for a clean, exciting game of football at Villa Park. That's what we want. Ollie Watkins battling there with Van de Ven, but he won the challenge and the ball's up in the air. McGinn wins the first header, brought down by Bailey. He turns and tries to run at the Spurs defence, but can only run out of room, and Spurs win the throw-in on the right-hand side. And that will be the key for Spurs today, to get physical with those Villa forward players. Leon Bailey, a very highly skilled player, knows how to jink past players and skip past them and use his skill to beat defenders. He's also got a blistering amount of pace as well, Leon Bailey. One of his key attributes to the Villa attack. And interesting, of course, not often we see a front two in modern football, but Unai Emery going for that tactic this afternoon, a 5-3-2 it seems. Spurs pressing high there. Brennan Johnson involved, but only gets a goal kick for Aston Villa there, but high pressing. And they've matched Villa, it seems, or probably Villa have matched the Spurs front three. 3 for 3 here at the moment. Villa have it at the back from the goal kick. Want to play out from that goal kick. Konsa wide for Cash. He's come very deep, but he can turn and break away, and he's deemed to have been fouled there by Brennan Johnson. Held back. Of course, former teammates, of course, of Nottingham Forest, Brennan Johnson and Matty Cash. But on opposite sides this afternoon, Martinez, Konsa, he tries to go down the line, but Cash thought he was coming short, misplaced the pass, and Spurs intercept with a doggy. Van de Ven across to Romero, and I spoke about in the opener how reliable the Spurs defence has been when they are that solid back four, that consistent back four. They really do perform really well, especially Romero and Van de Ven, a real key partnership for Spurs in that back line. Massive centre-back partnership that's got them out of a lot of trouble this season. Here's Luis, he's a lot deeper than he wanted it to be, and the long ball forward, and Watkins beats his man, and Ollie Watkins is in. He's got Bailey in the middle. Watkins runs out of space, and Van de Ven with a recovery. Incredible, because Ollie Watkins looked like he was gone, completely gone, and he's gone down. Ollie Watkins, it was a real strong challenge by Van de Ven, but it was very good defending by the Spurs centre-back. That's what I mean about getting each other out of trouble. Romero doesn't win the battle. He lets Ollie Watkins past him, and then Van de Ven has to speed back and recover, as Ollie Watkins just looked like he was gone off and leaving the dust behind him there. A long ball from the back from Villa. Watkins just sneaks up behind Romero, and he just nicks the header past him. Takes it down, running in, and takes him a bit further wide than he probably would have wanted to go. Tries to come back in, failing Mickey Van de Ven on the recovery. Although, It's an awkward fall for Ollie Watkins. It's not. Although, end of end, just it's the follow through that kind of makes the creates the pain for Ollie Watkins. He's back to his feet. It's just one of those instant impact issue, but he's fine. Here's Matty Cash, who slips there but does recover the ball and gets it forward. But there was an offside against Leon Bailey in any case, so Spurs will get the free kick. So, early on, Aston Villa trying a few things. Ollie Watkins starting decently in the... Talk about the Spurs high press. Villa tried to press high there, but beaten past them was Yuri Tielemans. Bissouma out to the left hand side, brought down by Udogie. Udogie with the early delivery, linking up well with Son, but Villa really low block, getting lots of bodies in the way. But nice play from Spurs. The flag stays down for the moment as the ball comes in, and the cross is too deep from Pedro Porro, who broke down the right hand side. Wanted to get an early delivery in, but in the end behind for a goal kick to Aston Villa. Was he actually offside? There was a call for offside. Oh, it's very tight. Pedro Porro, I think maybe give him the benefit of the doubt there. I think he was just in line with the defenders. Nonetheless, the cross didn't find any of his teammates, so the offside is irrelevant in this case. But it's interesting as well. You know, we talk about Villa and how they've kicked on this season, and you know, from that positive kind of, you know, coming in last season, Unai Emery at the start of last season, Villa at one point were around the bottom three, you know, at the start of last season. Unai Emery came in November of 2022 and completely reinvigorated this Villa side, got them into European football, got them Europa Conference League football, which they're still in, by the way, the round of 16. And they've kicked on this season. They looked absolutely electric. I mean, and it's down to their home form. You know, they've won 10 out of 14 10 out of 13 home games this season. So they're up there in the top four in terms of their home form. The three above them are the three teams actually above them in the table. Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool only have a better home record. But 31 points out of a possible 36 is really, really good at home. And that's exactly, you know, what Aston Villa kind of have built their successes upon this season. And look, natural progression is they would have wanted another season in European football, another European qualification season. You know, we knew coming into this one it'd be a very highly competitive European race this season. You know, a lot of predictions, very different predictions. You know, all the talk about Brighton maybe kicking on, and Newcastle, Chelsea in there, Spurs of course, Manchester United as well. So a lot of teams to kind of take up that fourth place, because that was what was kind of under question. Who would get the fourth spot? We know that the top three would be up there. Arsenal, Liverpool and City would be the top three. But who would get that fourth spot? And at the minute, I mean, Villa in the box seat for it, but as quickly as it comes, it can be easily taken away. As Villa put the ball, or the Spurs put the ball in there from the left, Villa have to defend. Kulusevski recycles. Maddison was almost there, but just over his head. And Villa get it cleared. Spurs getting into their rhythm. Here's Brennan Johnson down the left. Tippy tapping his way around. Finds it to Pap Sarr. Tries to play it through the lines, but well spotted by Pau Torres, who gets it away. And the early ball up to Watkins is easily cut out by Spurs. Seems to be Villa trying that tactic more often than not in this game so far. More direct Villa when they get on the ball. They want to get it to Watkins quicker and earlier. Get him to hold it up and then they can break, but so far Spurs have dealt with that hold-up play very well. and held off Ollie Watkins on a couple of occasions so far. Van de Ven. 10 minutes gone at Villa Park. 0-0. Romero. Saw a stat before the game. Villa, the most goals inside the first 30 minutes of any Premier League side this season. 24 goals inside the first 30 minutes. Considering they have scored a total of 59. So you're talking around just less than half of their goals come in the first 30 minutes of games. So it's crucial at an early start. And here's Watkins. Good high press from Villa. Watkins battled all the way by Romero. That will be crucial again, as I said. That one-on-one battle with Ollie Watkins is where Spurs are getting the better of it so far. And Romero will get a free kick here because Ollie Watkins just a bit of frustration from him maybe. And Spurs will get the free kick. Just kind of barging into the back of Christian Romero there. Ollie Watkins. Here's Vicario. Coming out of his 18-yard box, so pushing up very high. Van de Ven. To the lines, finds Son coming deeper, linking up with Brennan Johnson. Nice change of the foot. Lovely footwork from Johnson. Plays it across to Sarr. Space in the right-hand side for Spurs. Kulusevski. Porro. Back to Dejan Kulusevski, who's pressed back to his centre-back Christian Romero. These two sides very well drilled tactically. You know exactly what positions and what moves and what ideas the opposition are going to want to produce on them. These two managers very tactically astute. Kind of like a chess match in terms of what happens first, who blinks first in that front. Emi Martinez, long ball, Watkins chasing it again, and Spurs deal with it again. Porro playing out from the back. Again, plays out of the press nicely. Adoge. Madison. Back to Bissouma. Spurs look ready, up for this so far. They've had the more of the ball, dominating the possession early on here. And there's the ball in behind, just a bit too much on that one to find Pape Sarr, who'd made the run in behind, but far too much pace on the ball. I clearly see what both sides are doing in their attacking phases. Spurs playing those balls in behind the Villa high line, making those runs, trying to beat the offside trap that Villa most certainly play, and they're very rigid in that. They don't give up a lot on that front in terms of playing that high line, sometimes to their own detriment, but majority of the time the reward outweighs the massive risk that it causes and poses at times. Here's Cash down the line, stayed in. Initially it was just thought that was going out of play, but Van de Ven did well to not lose concentration, although there is a loss of concentration. Watkins. Here's Tielemans, tries to take the early shot, blocked. Watkins. Back to Douglas Luiz, lifts the ball in, too much for Matty Cash. And behind for a goal kick, but that was a lapse of concentration from Yves Bissouma. A bit too comfortable in possession. Gives it away straight to Ollie Watkins, and lays it off to Tielemans. Tielemans has a shot blocked. Watkins recycles it. Douglas Luiz knows that Cash is making the run. He lifts the ball over the defence, and just too much on it in the end. Too deep and behind for a goal kick, but good move from Villa. And again, that high pressing working well. Being there in those spaces, in those moments when there is a lapse of concentration, and trying to capitalise upon them. Spurs give it away again in the midfield, and this time a bit too much from Mickey Van de Ven, and giving away a free kick there. Leon Bailey this time, the man fouled. Chris Kavanagh blowing the whistle and giving Villa a free kick. Of course, don't forget the huge game at the top of the table, the title race. Liverpool and Manchester City, the fight for the title today at 3:45. Kickoff will be live from 3:30 to get ready for that one at Anfield, that huge game between Liverpool and Manchester City. But this one equally as important for these two respective teams at Villa Park. What Champions League qualification could do is huge. That's really good tracking from Luca Digne, but then the ball from Leon Bailey is wayward. Villa, at times, architects of their own downfall. They win the ball high, and Luca Digne done really well, kept the initiative, and just kept chasing the ball, and it worked out for him. He won it back, gave it to Leon Bailey, and Bailey just trying to go wide with it to give it to Cash, and Cash had already made the run beyond, and Bailey just squared it across and went straight out of play. But those types of incidents can really kind of take the wind out of the sails of Aston Villa. And Cash there, breaking up the play again, and Brennan Johnson, the one that was fouled, stretching for the ball with his left leg there, Cash, and the ball had already gone. Brennan Johnson knew the challenge was coming, and the ball was already away, and yeah, it was slightly mistimed from Matty Cash. Spurs a chance for a set piece. It's Pedro Porro that's over it, surprisingly. I mean, I would have predicted James Maddison, but there we are. James Maddison's actually in the box, so threat there. Son and Pape Sarr, Christian Romero amongst them. Pedro Porro the chance to deliver. Will be a right-footed in-swinger from the left-hand side. Lifted into the box and headed away first time by Longley. McGinn picks up the loose ball. Nice footwork to skip away from his marker. And here's Douglas Luiz, plays it in behind. Watkins, is he onside? He's one-on-one. Ollie Watkins squares it. What's he doing? Ollie Watkins squares it. And Pedro Porro in the way. But I think he was offside in any case. See it again. Pape Sarr, loose ball. McGinn picks up on it. Skips away from his man. Feeds it to the on-run Douglas Luiz. And yes, he was offside, Ollie Watkins. Just a slight second late, that ball from Douglas Luiz. But again, I don't know why he squared it. I would have bet whole life savings on that Ollie Watkins would have took that chance, considering he scored 16 Premier League goals this season. Only Erling Haaland has more, so he's in a rich vein of form. And not that it matters anyway, he was offside, and Villa will have another free kick here. They took an early throw in. Ducadinha took it, and I mean, is that a handball? I mean, that's just silly. Tielemans went down amongst the Pape Sarr challenge. I thought it was a handball initially, but Pape Sarr's been booked for that challenge on Yuri Tielemans, so a chance for Villa here, as Sarr is the first one in the book this afternoon. There we are. A chance for Villa. Looks like it's McGinn and Douglas Luiz over this one for Villa. Two options for delivery. Luiz leaves it. McGinn with a left-footed delivery in. And Vicario had to come and punch it away. And he did get it away, but a heavy touch there from Brennan Johnson carrying it out. We'll give Villa a throw-in. Bit flustered at the minute, Spurs. Lovely ball by McGinn in that corridor of danger that we always talk about. There was Villa players charging in on the goal, and Vicario had to commit himself, and he did well to parry it away. Had two strong hands to it to punch it clear, and Villa now have the throw-in. Right hand side, Matty Cash to take. Maybe the momentum has swung in Villa's favour in the last minute or two. Cash on the right hand side, looking, eyeing up a long throw in here. Matty Cash goes for the long one. right into the box. Watkins gets the first header, but it's in the wrong direction. Luis gets it alive, keeps it alive. Long lay to Cash, who's brought down, but there's only a throw in that. The ball went out of play. So Cash to take another throw in for Villa. Bit of good momentum for the home side. Long lay gets it from Cash. And then Torres all the way back to Emi Martinez. Who goes long again, Martinez, and Cash had made the run beyond. But Villa working it well. Recycled by McGinn. Bailey. Back to McGinn. Through the lines is Cash on the last line, looking to go for the cross, blocked. And out for a throw-in. Better from Aston Villa. And they've kind of ridden that early storm from Spurs where they struggled to string a couple of passes together, Villa. And really getting into their rhythm now. Settled a bit into the game. I think he's eyeing up another long throw-in here. Matty Cash. Ashley Consa's come up for it. Goes long. Consa the target. Consa heads it down. Bailey takes a touch and controlled it but blocked that shot by Spurs. Torres with the delivery. Cash takes it down on the edge of the right hand side of the box. McGinn trying to work an angle for a cross, and that one is blocked. And behind by Brennan Johnson for a Villa corner. Really good from Villa. Certainly improved. So a chance here from a set piece. First corner of the game. Right hand side for Aston Villa. Leon Bailey over to take it. Will be an in-swinger. Bailey. Left footed delivery. Fizzed across. And away by Mickey van der Ven. And the challenge in there from Tielemans will put it out for a Spurs throw. It was a deep delivery by Leon Bailey trying to put pressure on the keeper, but he had a strong centre-back in Mickey van der Ven in his way and headed it clear. Firmly there from Spurs' point of view. Spurs with the throw-in on the right-hand side, deep in their own half, halfway through the first half. Still goalless here at Villa Park, but Villa slightly edging the occasion in the last 5 minutes or so, and they've worked it well to win it back. Bailey, oh, just a bit short to Cash. Again, Spurs, no out ball there, and Villa have it back. McGinn spreads it to the left. Luca Digne takes it down. Going for the cross. Digne! Body's in there, but Vicario got up first and got the catch on the ball for Spurs. Strong defending there from Spurs, but Villa again looking comfortable. And in the last 5 minutes, only 4% of the ball has been in Villa's defensive third. So it's Villa on the front foot, most definitely, in the last 5 minutes or so. And Spurs caught in possession again. Van der Ven a bit lazy there with his ball control, and Leon Bailey went down from a challenge, but no foul, said the officials. The doggy to take this Spurs through. Certainly a closely fought battle in the early stages. Lovely link up with Son as a doggy. Brennan Johnson going for the ball in behind. Knocks it off Matty Cash and get another throw in, but inside the Villa half this time. Chance for Aston Villa. An issue here. I've no idea what's happened. It seems to be a bit of pushing and shoving or something. James Maddison and Douglas Luiz both going over to have a chat with the referee Chris Kavanagh. Referee just trying to restore calm and cool heads. Just shows you the high tension that this game is under. But Villa give it away there, as Spurs give it away themselves, but want it back. Porro. Kulishevsky with a left-footed delivery, but straight into the hands of Emi Martinez, who tries to get his side going quickly, but crowded out there was Yuri Tielemans, and the foul given to the Villa man inside his own half. Luis takes the free kick. Lovely weighted ball over the top. Watkins had made the run, but the control and a really strong defending by Pedro Porro to block that one off. Block that route to goal completely and deny Ollie Watkins. But that will be the idea continually for Villa. Of course, Ollie Watkins will be the focal point, the key man. It's not a massive surprise. The Spurs on the brick themselves. Here's Son. Plays it beyond Kulishevsky now in the box. Battling there, and the flag goes up against Kulishevsky eventually. Was a hint of offside, just waiting on the flag, and there it comes from the assistant. So, Dejan Kulishevsky made the run slightly too early. Lovely play by Son, and then a bit too much speed from Dejan Kulishevsky there. Martinez. Konsa. Now to Cash. Strange ball by Matty Cash, because it went straight over the top of the Spurs defence and no one had made that run. So Spurs get the ball back. Bissouma. Romero. But one thing that is interesting, no shots on target yet. Villa have had 2 shots, but none of the shots that we've seen so far this afternoon, the minimal that we've had, none of them have been on target. As Villa win it high again. Bailey trying to feed Ollie Watkins, but it's a free man and Yuri Tielemans the other side. Wrong decision by Leon Bailey there. As Maddison makes the ball in behind, looking for Son's run, but slightly ahead of the Spurs captain. Seems to be ever so close. Fine margins so far. And the ball over the top again from Villa. Here's Douglas Luiz. Or Watkins. Finds Cash. In behind is Bailey. Bailey with a cross. Bouncing around. Cash trying to force it over the line, but head it wide. Off the post from Cash. Watkins does well. Holds up the ball nicely. Spreads it for Cash. Cash gives it to Bailey, who'd made the run to the byline. Cut it back, and then a bit of a scramble. And Cash tried to force it in, but could only hit the right upright. Behind for a goal kick to Spurs, but getting closer. And then a missed kick from Spurs gives Villa the ball back. Well, it doesn't, at the minute, look like that Villa's potency inside the first 30 minutes is going to continue. They might. It doesn't look like they're going to get their 25th goal inside the first 30 minutes in this game, anyway. Because we're now entering the 30th minute, and we are yet to have a shot on target. So that's the issue. But here comes Son again. That ball in behind. Villa don't deal with it initially, and luckily for them, fortunately, they got away with it. But under pressure. That's nice play from Villa there. Cash. It's another key component of these two teams. They're very similar in their kind of base structures and their basic ways of playing, the simple things, playing out from the back, high press and strong defence, and kind of committed to the cause, no matter what the kind of detriment to their own team. They're committed to the belief that they have in the way that they play, and Ezri Konsa so committed to playing out that even when he has no options but to go long, he still continues with the ball and now wins Villa a throw-in deep in their own defensive third. That's how committed Villa and Spurs are to that playing out to the back system. 30 minutes gone. 0-0. Spurs on the press, and James Maddison just hit that ball out for a Villa goal kick. Well, the reverse fixture early in the season was a cracker at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs took the lead in that one, and then the comeback from Villa, Pau Torres and Ollie Watkins getting the goals to give Villa a 2-1 win against Spurs on that day. Villa have a good record against Spurs as well. Have won all of their last 3 against Tottenham, scoring 2 in each game, both home and away. And since their 4-0 defeat here in April of 2022. So, certainly a reason to feel confident, Villa. And that means, as I said, that Unai Emery has a 100% record against Spurs as Villa manager. 3 wins from 3. Strong form indeed from Villa. And after kind of a topsy-turvy spell to start the new year in it, you know, they'd 1 win in 6 games in between January and February. They're now on a 4-game unbeaten run, 3 wins in a row in the Premier League, being Fulham, Forest and Luton, games they should be winning, and then that huge result away at the Johan Cruyff Arena on Thursday night away at Ajax. So huge display for them, and they have the return leg this Thursday here at Villa Park. What a night that will be for Aston Villa. They're battling for Europe's biggest competition, a space in that competition next season here this afternoon, but they want to go even further in a European competition if they win this Thursday against Ajax, one of the European giants in history. But here's Heung-min Son battling, running through, and Ezri Konsa just uses his body and his physicality and beats Son to it. But the long ball from Villa gifts the possession straight back to Spurs. Sarr, Udogie, Brennan Johnson on the left. Now Maddison, Travella ball in. Villa get it away and go long again, and Watkins on the chase. But look at how far Vicario had come there. Very high up as a goalkeeper, and Villa win it back high again. Cash on the press. Bailey on the run. Villa lacking the bodies forward. Bailey goes down in the box. Wanted a penalty there, Leon Bailey. Might have had a good case. We'll have to see a replay, but Chris Kavanagh felt that there was no foul in there. Spurs won the ball fairly, according to the referee. And probably did. Seemed a bit clumsy, really, more than anything. VAR has checked it and confirmed that decision was the correct one by Chris Kavanagh, the referee. Here's Kulishevsky for Spurs. Cross comes in. Longley with the header away. Spurs win the return ball though. Get it back. Brennan Johnson on the left. Running at Cash. Trying to get a bit of purchase. Gets the ball in, and the cross is deflected behind for a Spurs corner, I think. And it is. Emi Martinez didn't gather the ball before it had gone across the line, and had already taken a deflection, so therefore it is a Spurs corner. That's not a penalty. See it again. Leon Bailey just chopping his way into the box, and Bissouma, I mean, it's a silly idea from Bissouma. I mean, you have to be silly to be making challenges like that. But it's not enough for a penalty for me. By the way, that Spurs corner actually came to nothing. As I was speaking about that, Maddison played it across. Porro knocked it out for a goal kick. To Aston Villa. Into the last 10 minutes of the first half, and the deadlock probably nowhere near being opened or being broken at this minute in time. Doesn't look like we're going to reach that point as it stands at the moment, but you never know. It's the joy of the unpredictability of these games, especially a close fought match such as this. And don't forget, the action doesn't end here this afternoon. We continue our huge day of ramifications for massive spots in the Premier League, and the big one at 3:45 this afternoon when Liverpool welcome Manchester City to Anfield. That fight for the title. The winner will retake top spot from Arsenal, who got to the summit last night after their big win against Brentford at home. That winner from Kai Havertz laid on, give Arsenal top spot. Something of which Liverpool and Manchester City both want to steal off them. And we'll see what happens there. That's 3:45 this afternoon kickoff. We're live from 3:30, so bit of build up before kickoff. Right, Villa have a free kick in their own half. Emi Martinez will take it, so that shows you how deep it is. Emi Martinez was standing up to take it, but Douglas Luiz has stepped back and taken it himself. As Villa play themselves to nowhere again. Ollie Watkins with the header forward. Straight back to Spurs. Adogi. Van der Ven. Back to Vicario. Now Mickey Van der Ven. Again, chopping back to his keeper. Spurs living dangerously there, and Villa on the press, but Spurs confident in their ability and play out of that press really well. And when McGinn tries to reapply the press, he gives away a free kick. Maddison takes it quickly. Johnson had made the run beyond, and good defending by Cash to block it off the first time. Johnson gets it back, and not on the same page as Heung-min Son, as the Korean wanted to make the overlap, and Matty Cash was quick to that and cleared it away. Udogie with the throw in. I mean, very little to split the two teams in this first half. Both defensively solid, but in attacking areas, both are showing the ability to threaten the opposition. Just they're not getting shots off at the minute. Spurs still without a shot in this game. Doing well in the build-up, and their approach play is lovely, but when they get into the final third and towards the Villa box, Villa have them well covered time and time again, and there's no space, no time for Spurs to take those shots. That's credit to Villa. Also, Spurs need to find a way to do so and adapt to try and find an attacking outlet of some sort. Bissouma. Of course, they left it late last weekend, Spurs. Final 15 minutes of their game against Crystal Palace at home. Scored 3 goals to complete a 3-1 comeback victory when they were 1-0 down to Oliver Glasner's Palace. Throw in there for Spurs on the right hand side. Porro to take. 5 minutes or so to go of the first half. Again, Spurs going backwards. Trying to play in between the spaces, in between the lines, and they do so well. And this time again, Jerry Tielemans that gives away a free kick. Romero. Van der Ven to Udogie. Back to Mickey van de Ven. Romero. Bissouma crowded out again, but he's holding the ball up well and eventually falls to the floor and under the challenge of Douglas Luiz and gets another free kick. 2 championship games ongoing at the moment. They kicked off a lot earlier on. One coming to the very end of their game, Huddersfield against West Brom. West Brom 4-1 lead they have away at Huddersfield, and with about 35 minutes to go in the other game between Bristol City and Swansea, it is remaining goalless between those two sides in the EFL Championship, if you're interested in that. And we've 2 o'clock kickoffs from the Premier League. We'll get team news from both of those games, talk about those at half time, which is quickly approaching here at Villa Park, and could end up with the first half without a shot on target. That's the way it seems to be going at the moment from these two sides. Not the most urgent of teams, these two, and well, in this game at the moment they've been showed a lot of urgency this season, these two teams, and their ability to put the ball in the back of the net. Loved it. Score goes 59 for Villa, 55 for Spurs. A lot of high scoring games this season. As a Dougie gets it forward, Brennan Johnson trying to chop past Cash, gets the cross in, but too far deep. Straight into the hands of Emi Martinez, who had his front post covered quite easily there. Chopping and changing nicely, Brennan Johnson down that left hand side, but as I said, their approach plays lovely, Spurs, but the final third is just, they're struggling to find that attacking threat. That crucial pass is always being broken down in the final third. Madison almost oversteps a ball and goes in for a challenge with Luiz, who wins it back nicely. McGinn battling. Thought he'd lost that one all for Dougie, and he'd actually won it back and has now won a free kick for Aston Villa. Captain-like, as it should be from the Villa captain, John McGinn. And Brennan Johnson getting himself unnecessarily involved here, just picking up the ball for no reason. Referee trying to get involved in that, but there's just no need for that from Brennan Johnson. I mean, why are you lifting up the ball? Just let them take the free kick. Never understood that. Although Villa a bit lax at the back, and here comes Spurs. Chance. Oh, cross again. Lacking that attacking outlet. Villa get it clear, but only as far as Van de Ven, who recycles it again. Bissouma. Now Son, he's drifted out to the left. Back to a Dougie. Infield to Bissouma. Cross to Porro. Romero. Oh, almost overstepped himself, and he did, and give it away. And Bailey plays a lovely ball in, and Watkins on the break. Ollie Watkins. Chance to shoot. Fake shots it. Hits the shot blocked. Watkins still has the ball. Drifted left. Dina made the run in field in the box and got the corner off Yves Bissouma. Again, causing their own problems, Spurs. Too comfortable in possession. Romero gives it away. Bailey plays a lovely ball in for Watkins. And tracked all the way by Romero. Romero oversteps himself. Watkins just tries to cut it with the right. Cut inside and take the shot with the right foot, but blocked off by Romero, and then Lucadinho wins a corner, which will be last couple of seconds of the first 45. We'll see how long is added on as Tielemans takes the corner short. Lovely ball in, and Dina with a header, but headed wide. Again, well worked set piece from Villa, short corner, cut back, and John McGinn with a fizzer of a ball in. And Lucadinho the man to make contact. A just a bit ahead of the ball, and that's what lacks the accuracy on the header. And it went wide for a goal kick, but good idea. Nice idea from Villa. As we have 1 additional minute at the end of the half added on, and we're halfway through that as there's a player down for Spurs, but the game will continue. Spurs in possession, a doggy. Brennan Johnson. Chance now for Spurs. Madison in the box, can't wriggle away from Villa bodies. Back to Sarr. Now Porro. Villa have everything covered and run out of time. No time to get a delivery there, Spurs, and that is the end of the first half. A first half with no shots on target. Villa, the more potent in attack, but not as accurate as they would have liked to have been. Spurs really struggling to find an attack and outlet at times in that first half. Really good approach play, but no final product. And that has been the problem in this first half. Both very good in the middle of the park, but when they get into the final third, they struggle to get the final product and put the ball in the back of the net. Half time at Villa Park. It is Aston Villa 0, Spurs 0.
Catch me if I fall. Catch me if I fall.
Welcome back to Premier League Live, the race for the top 4, Aston Villa and Spurs. Half time, it is goalless at Villa Park between the two sides, and a first half without a shot on target as well. Now the team could find that end product in that first half, and that is where we stand, goalless at the break. We have 2 games coming up at 2 o'clock at the Amex and at the London Stadium, where Brighton host Nottingham Forest and Burnley head to West Ham. Those are 2 o'clock kickoffs. We'll get the team news from those in a second, as well as Liverpool against Man City at 3:45 this afternoon. Right, let's just recap the other results from the Premier League weekend so far, and it all started yesterday at lunchtime when Manchester United 2 penalties in the first half. Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford converting to give Man United a 2-0 win over Everton at Old Trafford. Everton, who themselves had 8 more shots than Manchester United in the game, but were nowhere near accurate enough in taking them and couldn't find the back of the net, which got them absolutely nothing yesterday. Sheffield United, they had a chance at getting 3 points on the road. They were 2-0 up away at Bournemouth at one point yesterday. Gus Hammer and Jack Robinson, the 2 goal scorers, but a late comeback in the last 15 minutes from Bournemouth Dango Uatara and an Enes Unal goal in the 91st minute to level it for Bournemouth rescued a point for the Cherries. But that point does take Sheffield United off bottom spot and their first point in a long while in the Premier League since that draw with West Ham United on the 21st of January. Another draw, and it came at Selhurst Park, where Oliver Glasner's side against Luton Town. Jean-Philippe Mateta gave the home side, the Eagles, an early lead in that one. Jean-Philippe Mateta on 11 minutes. But a 96th minute Coley Woodrow equaliser rescued a point for Luton, who are in that relegation battle and have now closed the gap to Nottingham Forest to just 3 points, which means they could find their way back, very much so, out of the bottom three if results go their way. In other games, yesterday it was a good win for Wolves, not as good as what we have put up there. It was actually 2-1 for Wolves, just to correct that for you. Wolves winning by 2-1 against Fulham. Their good run of form continues. Ryan Aït-Nouri and an own goal from Tom Kearney give Wolves a 2-goal lead before a 98th minute consolation goal from Alex Iwobi. Got absolutely nothing for Fulham but a consolation at Molineux. Too little too late for Fulham, who stay in the bottom half. Wolves continue their chase in the top half and could, if they keep this run going, have a realistic possibility of an outside chance of a European place at the end of the season. Who would have thought of that? And then, of course, Arsenal's 2-1 win over Brentford. They took the lead, Arsenal, after Declan Rice put them in front. Johan Vissa's equaliser from the Aaron Ramsdale mistake got Brentford back in the game, but an 86th minute winner from Kai Havertz gave Arsenal all 3 points to take them to the summit, to the top of the Premier League table. And that is where we stand, half-time at Villa Park. It is goalless. And we'll have a look at the table and also recap the first half stats from Villa Park in a moment. But let's quickly get you the team news from those 2 o'clock kickoffs, which are getting underway in about 7 minutes' time. Start with Brighton's game against Nottingham Forest. We'll start with the home side. Bart Verbruggen starts in goal for Brighton. A back four of Joel Veltman, John Paul Van Hecke, Lewis Dunk, the captain, and Pervis Stupinian in defence. Carlos Baleba and Jakob Moder alongside Pascal Gross in midfield, with Ansu Fati, Simon Adingra and Evan Ferguson in attack. Brighton side looking to bounce back after their midweek defeat in the Europa League, a huge defeat away at Roma, a 4-0 defeat for them, which they need a miracle to try and overturn at the Amex this Thursday, but they'll want to get 3 points against Forest first, and a Forest side who start with Matt Sells in goal. Of course, heroic last weekend, almost, but no cigar against Liverpool in that game at the City ground. The back four for Forest: Nico Williams, Andrew Omobamidele, Murillo and Harry Toffolo make up the defence. Danilo, Nicholas Dominguez and Ryan Yates in midfield. Yates the captain, alongside a front three of Divock Origi, Morgan Gibbs-White and Chris Wood leading the line for Nottingham Forest. In that one, a Forest side who want to drag themselves away from that bottom three. 3 points this afternoon would be huge for Forest, would push them up 2 places in the league above Everton and Brentford, and carry them 6 points clear of the relegation zone, which Luton are occupying at the moment. Luton hoping for a Brighton win there. Indeed, Brighton themselves want to re-establish their hopes of European football. If they win this afternoon, they will be well within a battle of West Ham. Of course, will go above West Ham if results go their way this afternoon. They win and West Ham fail to beat Burnley. So Brighton have a chance, but very slim. To the London Stadium next, and West Ham, of course, aside in, let's just say, a terrible run of form recently, but good results in the domestic competitions. They were beaten in midweek against Freiburg in their Europa League knockout game in Germany. They were beaten by 1-0, but off the back of 2 straight wins in the Premier League, by 4-2 against Brentford and a 3-1 win away at Everton. They welcome another relegation favourite, Burnley, to the London Stadium. They start with Alphonse Areola in goal. A back four of Vladimir Sofal, Konstantinos Mavropanos, Naif Aguer and Aaron Cresswell in defence, Thomas Souček the captain, and Calvin Phillips in midfield alongside James Ward-Prowse in a more advanced position, with a front attacking three of Mohamed Kudus, Lucas Paquetá and Jared Bowen leading the line for the Hammers. For the visiting Burnley, who are bottom of the league and want to escape bottom of the league. I mean, they're probably not going to escape relegation at this late stage, very unlikely, but they want to remove themselves from bottom of the table. They'll need at least a point to do that this afternoon. They start with James Trafford in goal. Back four of Lorenz Assignon, Dara O'Shea, Maxime Esteve and Charlie Taylor in defence. Josh Cullen the captain alongside Sander Berge, Vitinho and Wilson Odobert in midfield, with Jakob Brun-Larsen and David Datro Fofana, who's on loan from Chelsea, leading the line for Vincent Kompany's side this afternoon, who, as I said, bottom of the Premier League table. 13 points for Burnley. So 2 games at 2 o'clock, and we'll keep updating you on both of those games, any goals, any incidents that happen all the way through the games, and we'll carry that over both of our streams this afternoon, because we'll get the final whistles once the games get underway at Anfield. The game gets underway at Anfield later this afternoon, so we'll keep you right up to date throughout the afternoon of those 2 games. Right, let's have a quick look at the table while I recap the stats from that first half for you from Villa Park, where it is still goalless between Aston Villa and Spurs. And the table, I mean, effectively nothing changes, of course. But one thing that does happen is that Spurs, if they do draw, will be 4 points clear of Manchester United in 6th with a game in hand. Of course, they have a game in hand on the teams around them. Spurs, of course, especially Villa. Villa will want to keep that gap quite the way it is, as it is at the moment, or even better for them. Stats from that first half. Spurs dominated the possession, 69% for the visitors to Villa's 31%. Villa, although despite that, had more shots in the game, 5 shots to Spurs, just the 1 from that first half. Neither side has shot on target, so pretty poor in that front in the first half. 2 corners for Villa, 1 for Spurs. A yellow card for Spurs, of course. Pap Sarr with that only yellow card. Villa had 1 big chance, which they missed. The passing, Spurs is better passing, 314 passes, Villa 137. Spurs accuracy 89%, Villa's 77%, but let's caveat that with the fact that Villa are going longer and more direct in this game, aren't playing that kind of slow approach play, build-up play that we're used to seeing from Aston Villa, taking more of the ball and controlling more of the possession. They're going for a more direct approach at the moment. It's not, well, I wouldn't say it's not working, it's just they haven't been accurate enough when they've got into good attacking areas, so that is something they need to improve on. Spurs, on the other hand, need to find a way to get it to their forwards in the final third. That is their issue from the first half. A second half which is finally poised at Villa Park, goalless at the break, but very exciting next 45 minutes, I am sure. Which the second half gets underway in just a couple of minutes. Do stay with us. welcome back to the race for the top four. Aston Villa against Spurs. Second half getting underway in just a couple of minutes. Don't forget the huge game this afternoon to follow this one. Liverpool against Manchester City. The fight for the title. Liverpool currently at this moment in time in second, a point behind Arsenal. City 2 points behind Arsenal in third. A matchup for the ages. It could be the final time that Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola face off in history, but it will be the final time that they face off at Anfield, and it will be a cracking display, I am sure, this afternoon. And that kicks off at 3:45, and we'll get team news from that one in about 45 minutes time, so still a bit away, but who knows, anything could happen in that game. That is at 3:45. Right, we're almost ready to get back underway at Villa Park. The players returning to the field, so the second half surely imminent at Villa Park. Ollie Watkins getting a bit of information from the coaching staff there. Probably about his runs in behind and how to be more potent and more threatening. Those 2 o'clock kickoffs underway, so we'll update you from the Amex and from the London Stadium when if and when anything happens. And we are ready to get back underway. A hint of a change at half-time. So Dragoshin warming up for Spurs, but no movement. He remains on the bench to start the second half. So no changes for either side, and no change in the scoreline after 45 minutes. Both managers will be hoping that will change in the next 45 minutes or so. And we will see. We will wait and see. It's not often there's been 0-0 draws in the Premier League this season. We've had one of the most crazy attacking seasons, probably on record for the Premier League, and how many goals and how many dramatic moments and how many high-scoring games we've had. And Villa have a chance in behind early on here. Kamani Cash breaking the lines. Cash goes himself. Shot blocked. There was bodies in there. Watkins and Bailey, I think, was lurking as well, running in deep, but Cash wanted to go himself. Spurs trying to match that tempo, actually put the ball out of play, but it's a nice move. John McCain, ball over the top. Nice idea. Matty Cash just breaks down the right-hand side, trying to get in behind the Spurs defence. Chops back, looking to cut inside for the shot. Probably should have eyed up a pass instead, but well, Villa hoping to start how they look to continue, although they've given it away, and Cash caught in possession. Son couldn't capitalise because he gave a poor ball away, and Villa win it back. Lacking a quality there. That ball from Son, rare from his point of view. Rare to see from him. Here's Torres, who's continued his run for Villa. Edge of the box. Torres plays the ball in. Bailey's made the run beyond, and his shot is over the bar. But again, a good idea from Villa. Whether he was onside or offside is the question. He just drifted offside, Leon Bailey. It was too good to be true in the end, and he was in an offside position. But certainly Villa targeting those more infield balls. Although, there's an issue here for Spurs. And we talked a lot about Spurs' consistency at the back. Mickey van der Ven's already been kind of out this season through injury, and it might be another one. And they said that Dragoshin was warming up. This could probably be why. Maybe Mickey van der Ven felt something at half-time. They brought Dragoshin out as a precaution, and maybe they could live to rue that decision of bringing Van de Ven back out, because he's just gone down inside 2 minutes of the second half getting underway. Issue indeed. Big issue indeed for Spurs. Of course, Van der Ven got injured in that crazy game. I think it was against Chelsea early in the season when they lost Maddison in the same game and were down to 10 as well as in that one. Mickey Van der Ven's day at Villa Park is over, and he's been replaced by Radu Dragoshin, who's come on in his place. So, not a good sign for Spurs. Not the fact that they're bringing on Dragoshin, the fact that they're losing such a good player and Mickey Van der Ven, such a solid defender. Probably one of the defenders of the season, Mickey Van der Ven, but could be injury that can hold him back. And it looks like injury has ended his day this afternoon. Here's Kulishevsky. Ball in behind. Sarr's made the run. Sarr continuing that run. Puts a ball in. Maddison! Great idea from James Maddison. Latching on to a cross from Pap Sarr. The ball in behind from Spurs does work eventually. And with their first shot on target, James Maddison gives them the lead. And from a moment of sombre misfortune for Spurs, losing their key centre-back, within seconds they go down the other end and make it a solemn moment for Villa. Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 1. And a hint of offside initially. And Sarr is onside. No questions about that. And the ball from Kulishevsky. Sarr making that run and spotting that early cross, knowing that Maddison's making that run into the box. And the delivery from Pap Sarr is perfect. Onto the boot of James Maddison, who stretches a left leg out and fires it past Emi Martinez to give the Tottenham Hotspur a lead. Although they're checking for offside here, VAR, but I don't think... I mean, why are they checking offside? There's an offside on the far side, but there's no involvement from that side whatsoever. They've drawn the lines, and they should continue with the decision. Yeah, they have. They've given the goal. That was just unnecessary. Heung-min Son on the far side was offside, but he had no interaction with the ball whatsoever, no impact on the play. It was Brennan Johnson, one of the two, but whatever it was, there was no interaction from that left-hand side. There was an offside, but Pap Sarr, the key man, he was onside, and James Maddison, with his 4th goal of the season, his first since October, and it could be a huge goal for Spurs in their race for top 4. I'll show you the table as it stands in a moment, but Villa come forward. McGinn. Tielemans, the home side looking to respond. Tielemans with a shot, takes a deflection. Bailey up to challenge, but Vicario gets it. Villa looking to respond quickly, but Spurs hit first and have the first blow of the afternoon. And here comes a doggy. Want to make it even better, Spurs. Son. Oh, a doggy. Just took a heavy touch, but that would have been beautiful from Spurs. A doggy with a heavy touch lets him down. Let's just look at the live table then. This is where it stands with Spurs winning. There we go, within 2 points of Villa. And that will be huge because with a game in hand, Spurs could go above Villa if they win that game in hand. That is massive. That is why it's so huge for Spurs taking the lead in this game. What impact it could have directly on the table. But, as I said, Unai Emery, a 100% record against Spurs. But they're giving it away again here, Villa. Here's Son. Now he feeds it in. Johnson! 2-0. Brennan Johnson. Villa, architects of their own downfall again. Giving the ball away in midfield. And Spurs have floods of bodies going forward. And Brennan Johnson, the beneficiary. Son with a pass, Johnson with a finish, and Spurs, in the space of a couple of minutes, have made Villa Park silent, barring their own fans. But it's Villa again. That ball So poor. I mean, Esri Konsa, too lax in possession, given away, and Son works it through. Good challenge from Kulishevsky. Son plays it across. Johnson works the angle. It's lovely. Knows that he's going to try and find the far corner and does so fantastically. And that is now a mountain for Villa to climb. Difficult indeed for Aston Villa at this stage. That was the thing that they most certainly could not afford to happen. They lose. Spurs take the lead, and what Villa couldn't afford to happen was that they conceded another in quick succession. But that is exactly what has happened. Aston Villa 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Spurs in the driving seat now here at Villa Park. James Maddison there, tripped up. It's just a free kick. There's a goal in the game at the London Stadium, and well, Sheffield United got their first point since January. Yesterday, Burnley, well, they did get a point against Fulham at the start of last month. Well, they take the lead at the London Stadium. West Ham side are in good form in the domestic competitions. Last two games they have won, and quite comfortably. But it's David Datro Fofana that has given Burnley an early lead in East London. West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. Goodness me, not what I would have expected. And that would take Burnley off bottom spot. They would go above Sheffield United by 2 points at the bottom of the Premier League table. Still goalless in the other game between Brighton and Nottingham Forest. As I said, update you if anything changes in those other games. So, where do Villa go from here? They need, firstly, to not make it any worse for themselves. You know, the next goal is crucial in this game, most certainly. Spurs are on an incredible run. 39 games in succession they have scored in, which is almost a record. They're getting closer to that record that Arsenal most firmly hold at the moment. Ball over the top from Aston Villa, but well dealt with by Dragoshin, who had it covered. Spurs kind of into their groove now. Getting that 2-goal lead will surely take the weight off their shoulders, indeed, a lot more. But Villa have a bit between their teeth there, almost squeezed it through to Yuri Tielemans, but blocked off by Spurs. And this is exactly where Spurs want to be. They're comfortable. They held the ball. They had more of the possession. They had dominated that first half in terms of their ball control and their ball play, but they struggled with that attacking outlet. They have found that attacking outlet now in the second half, very clinically as well. With their only 2 shots of the second half, they found the back of the net on both occasions. And it's now prompted Villa to make a triple substitution. So Clement Lenglet's off. He's been replaced by Nicolo Zaniolo. The first substitution for Villa. Second substitution, Yuri Tielemans is coming off. He's going to be replaced by Moussa Diaby. And the third substitution is Luca Digne, and he's going to be replaced by Alex Moreno. So Digne, Tielemans and Lenglet off, Moreno, Diaby and Zaniolo on for Villa. So a roll of the dice from Unai Emery. And looks bemused. Not a happy bunny on the sidelines there, Unai Emery, at the moment. And can you blame him? This game is far from over yet. Maddison. Son. Breaks down the left, but good recovery by McGinn, who won the ball back and is now charging down the opposite flank. And he's taken down there, John McGinn, by Udogie, and they take the free kick quickly. Good idea by McGinn. Bailey with a cross. Blocked by Spurs. Nice idea by McGinn. But just doesn't work in their favour, unfortunately for them. Really smart idea to take the free kick quickly, and the referee allowed it. I think he was right to. Fair enough. Hypatia? Sorry if I've thinged that wrong. I voted the Spurs to win. Go, Anges Postacoglu. Well, there we are. Actually, no, I'll leave the poll up. Son, looking for the cross, but just overhit that one. Kuliszewski will keep it alive. That's the thing about Spurs. They're able to maintain the attacks in the final third now. That was one thing that they struggled in that first half. They couldn't sustain the pressure on Villa. That's why they were struggling so much in that first half. You know, when they were getting forward in moments, in short spells. They weren't maintaining it. And now they're sustaining the pressure, sustaining the possession, sustaining that kind of ability to put pressure on the Villa defence. And that's why they're being more successful in the game. Is she there? Pau Torres has to put it behind for the corner. The Spurs. This is a revitalised Tottenham team. Porro going for the cross. Away by Torres. Bailey helping out to get Villa on the front foot. Gives it to McGinn. McGinn down on the ground again. This time fouled again. Villa free kick. And he takes it quickly, but I think Dragoshin was too close. So I think they'll get another chance at that. Dragoshin has actually been booked there. I'm guessing he's been booked for being too close to the free kick. Just unnecessary from him. Hypatia says Angelos is a coach who does not need superstars for success, like Guardiola or I don't know. He can make a super team from average talented players. Yeah, I think this is where these two managers, I mean, I'm not comparing them as equals. Unai Emery is an unbelievable European manager, an unbelievable manager across Europe. But one trait I think they have in common is they can make, as you said there, superstars. It's about tactical kind of edges that they find in games. It's not about relying upon individual brilliance. I mean, that helps. I mean, Ollie Watkins has been a sensation for Villa. James Maddison, incredible. Son for Spurs. There are key players, key big individuals in the team, but they play as a team. They play as a system, a kind of tactical structure, and that's where they find the edges in this game. That's probably why these two teams have done so well. It's because they're well drilled tactically. They know their systems. They know what way they play inside and out, and that is what gives them the edge on the opposition, because they know exactly what to do in any given situation. Villa playing it nicely here. Diaby made the run too early. Good build-up play, but final third letting them down there, Villa. Offside. That's all players have stayed healthy all this time. Tottenham would be now fighting for first place. Interesting, as you mentioned that, of course, with Van de Ven going off with an issue. Son made the run in behind here. Tracked all the way. And very well dealt with there by Villa at the back, Pau Torres. But Spurs have it back again. Porro. I think Villa the next goal has to come Villa's way if they're going to get anything out of this game, definitely. They go 3-0 down. It's probably too much of a hurdle for them to try and jump over. To try and get anything. Come 3-0 down is difficult at the best of times. Spurs, 2-0 isn't be all and end all. It is still in the balance because if Villa do get a goal, get this back to 1 goal, the momentum in their favour, the game can easily swing back the other way. But that's if Villa do get a goal, which at the moment, I'm not saying it looks unlikely, but I'm not saying it being more likely than another Spurs goal, to be honest. And the crowd, I mean, at times a bit, although they've been billowed by that, they've been buoyed by that as McGinn wins it high, ball across, and oh my goodness me, what a close opportunity that was. Just have to say it again. I think it might have been Zaniolo that was in there, and he was so close to getting the ball. John McGinn done incredibly well. There's been an issue here. John McGinn surrounded by players. It's boiling over here a bit. Both managers trying to take John McGinn out of that situation. Spurs surrounded by a lot of Spurs bodies there. And this has gone a bit more than it should have. And Chris Kavanagh has a question to answer here. There was a foul on Bissouma and it's a red card. He has the question to answer and he's answered it. Chris Kavanagh and John McGinn, the Villa captain, is gone. He's off the pitch and now you can see why. Just say it again. Bissouma coming away with the ball. Is that a red card? I mean, it's unnecessary from McGinn, but it's a bit... it's dangerous. But a cynical challenge, really. Is that a red? Well, he's given it. John McGinn hasn't left the pitch yet, which is interesting in the development here. And they think John McGinn was hoping, praying that VAR would overturn it. They've checked at VAR and have ratified the decision. It stands. John McGinn is off. To see it again, a doggy breaking away and... yeah, I get the point. John McGinn just comes flying in, and it's just a silly challenge. There's just no need for it. No attempt to win the ball, and it's one of those cynical challenges, just taking the man out. And with the amount of power and aggression, I think that's what's got John McGinn sent off. With how much force he used in that challenge, maybe is the reason that Chris Kavanagh has shown him red. And it's going from bad to worse for Villa. I mean, if you'd have told me 25 minutes ago at half-time that we would be sitting with 25 minutes to go, Villa 2 down and down to 10, I wouldn't have believed you, considering how clean the first half has been. But there we are. A matter of moments that could ultimately define their season. And look, it's not over yet. I'm not saying this game, but the title, the race for the top 4, that Champions League spot, still wide open. Spurs, certainly in the driving seat. They have that game in hand. It's in their hands if they win this. Tottenham, with that game in hand away at Chelsea. Tough place to go, Stamford Bridge. Not an easy one, but there'll be a free kick here for Spurs. Cash this time, giving away the free kick. We knew this was going to be a feisty game of football. First half really didn't deliver that front, but this second half is delivering in abundance. This is the fixture that we had prepared for, that we had planned for. Pacia says in Australia, Ange 2 times takes teams from the bottom of the table, and 1 time he became champion, second time third, and at the end of the season. Yeah, he does. What he's done with this Spurs team in a short space of time. I mean, we talk about managers and they need time to build and kind of get their system in. A key comparison, and I'm not purposefully mentioning Manchester United to just laugh at them. That's not the case. Villa have just made another change, by the way. Before I go back to that, it's Tim Irabunum has come on, and Leon Bailey has been taken off. So Bailey off and Irabunum on. What I'm saying is the comparison. You know, Spurs in their first season, great run. What they're doing is really fabulous, and Ange Postecoglou has kind of marked his stamp on this team in the space of a matter of weeks, really. And you can see, we know exactly how Spurs are going to play. You know, coming in this one, you knew that Spurs were going to want to have more of the ball. They were going to be more aggressive. They were going to play that high line. They were going to be high pressing. They were going to be really kind of quick with their passing ability. You know, we know there's a clear identity that Ange Postecoglou has instilled in this Spurs team. Compare that to Manchester United, Erik ten Hag. That's the difference in a quality manager and a quality coach, is that he can kind of stamp his idea on the team when he's got the tools in front of him. Whether he has the correct players or not, or the perfect the perfect kind of players, he stamps his authority and his kind of tactics on the team, and they have a real clear style of play. And Ange Postecoglou's done an incredible job in doing that so far this season with Spurs. Compare that to other managers, not quite the same. Unai Emery, similarly, stamped his authority on this Villa team, had his clear vision of what he wanted for this team and the way they wanted to play, and he's instilled that massively. And it's been successful so far in his tenure. Some difficult games, the here and there, but they come and go. But, you know, that is so important for managers, is to ensure the players understand exactly what they need to be doing in a game and in certain situations. That's why I talked about how good these two teams were, because they know exactly what they need to be doing. I mean, it's not a guarantee that they're going to deliver and going to kind of offer that up every single week, but more often than not they do. That's why they're in the position that they're in, these two teams. Into the last 20 minutes at Villa Park. Spurs, everything going in their favour at the moment, but nothing is certain as of yet. And Zaniolo gets Villa on the break, but Irabunum can't get the ball out of his feet, and Dougie, the last contact on the ball. We look at their home form, and their home record hasn't been as fantastic. 6 games, their first 9 games of the season, they conceded 6 goals and 0 more than 2 goals. Their last 5 home games, they've conceded 11 goals, and in all 5, they've conceded 2 or more goals in all 5 games. That is an incredible turnaround in kind of defensive stability at home, which is so crucial to a strong home record. You know, Villa were one of the unbeaten teams the early stages of the season in their home record. The last couple of games have just let them away, let teams off the hook, and that's where they faltered. Villa letting teams off the hook here at Villa Park is an issue. Irabunum caught in possession. Spurs have it again. Here's Son. Feeds it for Kulusevski. Cuts it back to Son. Trying to work an angle. Blocked off, and the pass intercepted by Villa. Esri Konsa there intercepting. Battling to win the ball and does keep the possession. Great from Esri Konsa. Zaniolo spinning away, but can't keep the ball in play. Goal at the Amex Stadium. And it is the relegation side that need the points but aren't getting them at the moment. It's the home side that have taken the lead. Brighton, through an Andrew Omobamidele own goal, has given Brighton an early lead. They've dominated the early stages, Brighton, and surely deservedly lead in that one. Brighton 1, Forest 0 after 30 minutes. Still, West Ham 0, Burnley 1 at the London Stadium as well. Ball in behind there again. Spurs eyeing up that run off the back of the defence of Villa. Douglas Luiz picking it up for Villa, trying to get them forward as the run down the right hand side from Diaby. Here is Moussa Diaby, cuts inside, looking to go for the shot. Knew it was coming all day long, Spurs, and got the block. I mean, it's not a secret that Moussa Diaby wants to cut infield and take the shot, and they had it well covered, Spurs. Have it back though, Villa. Watkins on the right hand side there, and dispossessed. Spurs defensively playing it out nicely. 1-2 touch football, lovely. Here comes Madison. Son on his left, Kulishevsky on his right. Takes Kulishevsky's as the option. Kulishevsky over the bar. Of course, as I mentioned, don't forget Liverpool against Manchester City. That fight for the title. The winner will retake top spot this afternoon at Anfield. Kickoff at 3:45, and we'll have team news from that one. A huge game in around about 10-15 minutes time. Irabunum. Now Cash going for the early cross, gets a corner out of Dragoshin, the Spurs defender. So a corner to Villa. Who knows? Maybe a lifeline coming. They do get a goal, Villa. The game is still in the... Oh! Just seen the replay and... I feel for Radu Dragoshin there. Got clean contact in an area that you don't want to get clean contact of a straight ball, but like that. You don't want that to be happening. Corner. Villa. Douglas Luiz to take. Loves the delivery. Ruthless delivery, low ball, that's awful. That is a poor corner indeed from Douglas Luiz. All the way back with Martinez, he fired it up the field. Villa couldn't hold on to the ball, but did win it back through Irabunum. Kept alive, Watkins. Caught into possession, brought down, wanted a foul, referee said no. As Spurs come away with a Kulishevsky to go on the break. He's taken down, but he continues, gets back up and continues the attack. The referee's played advantage. Kulishevsky. And then the free kick will actually go against Kulishevsky in the end. Just seeing them on Watkins. There wasn't much in that from a doggy there. That's not a foul. You can see why Watkins did go down, but it's not a foul. It's not enough. Moreno wins the throw in. Clock certainly against Villa at the moment. And despite being down to 10, they probably have had more of the ball. Aston Villa, since that dismissal of their captain. Actually, that's a good question. Who has the captain's armband? Who knows? Anyway, ball over the top from Luiz. Cut back from Diaby, but Watkins wanted the ball straight across. Diaby went for the cut back, and no one was there to meet it. When he cut that ball back, Moussa Diaby. Villa again letting themselves down. But Spurs back in possession and not looking to rush things. They're in no hurry. They're 2 up. Have the man advantage. They've got everything in their favour. And the clock helping in that as well. Time running out for Villa. 12 minutes to go at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 2. Villa down to 10. The clock certainly against the home side. Would be the first away win of the weekend. Previous 5 games we've seen 3 home wins, 2 draws. This would be the first away win of the weekend. Might not be the last, with Burnley winning away at West Ham. Cash. Back to Martinez. Villa. They're not patient. They need to get moving quickly. Urgency is certainly necessary from Villa. That's a lovely challenge. Zaniolo a bit lax there on the ball, and good challenge. Spurs play the ball in behind again. Will there be an offside here? Kulusevski, no flag. Back to the ball to the back post. Brennan Johnson with a shot. Still alive. The shot was initially blocked, but in there to win it back for Villa was Douglas Luiz. Ball forward. Watkins heads it on. Zaniolo on the chase, but Romero comfortable. Gets it to his fullback, Pedro Porro. And again, Villa will be dispossessed and will now have to press even more. Here's Brennan Johnson on the left for Spurs. Back to Madison. The 3rd goal for Spurs would end the game completely. I don't think they're in any search of it. They're not going to force it anyway. 10 minutes plus additional time to go. Ball in. Oh, Son was there. Couldn't break away from bodies. He's failed to do that all day. Not a criticism of him, just better from Villa in the way that they've defended Heung-min Son all afternoon. In the end, it's not been him that's caused the drama. It's the other 3. Kulusevski, Madison and Brennan Johnson behind him that have been the big key players for Spurs in this second half, and them getting their 2 goals. And that's poor from Pau Torres. Gives it away. Could have been threaded through by Kulusevski. Kept alive by Porro. Kulusevski gets it back. Chance here. Kulusevski doesn't go for the cross. Cuts it back to Porro. And again, more identification that Spurs are not forcing the issue. Well, Spurs, in terms of away form, have left a lot left to desire, really. They've won just 1 of the last 6 away Premier League games, and despite they scored actually 2 goals in 5 of those, 2 or more goals in 5 of those 6 games, but have failed to win more than 1 of the last 6. But this could be one of those. They drew 3 and lost 2 in their last 6 away games in the league. Here come Villa. Diaby bursting past the doggy again with a delivery, but no one in there. This time he goes in a cross goal, and Watkins was there for the cutback. Another miscommunication, but Romero puts it behind for the corner. Again, it's Diaby that's the outlet down that right hand side. That burst of pace is penetrating the Spurs defence, and the cross comes in, and Watkins wanted the cut back. Corner taken short by Luis. Diaby. Again trying to get to the byline and gets another deflection. We'll get another corner. This time off Pedro Porro. So corner again for Villa. Bodies in the box to try and attack it. Delivery in by Luis. Headed on. Zaniolo trying to force it over the line, but body on the line there from Vicario to stop it. Zaniolo. His impact seems to have hurt Vicario here. Vicario put his body on the line to stop it. Desperate, of course, for that clean sheet. Yeah, just as he comes down there, it's accidental from Zaniolo. He just connects with the head of Vicario with his boot. Should be okay. He's getting a bit of treatment now, Vicario, but he should be okay. But this is a huge moment for Villa. They need a goal at this point now to try and ignite them for a possibility of coming back into the game. But as I said, time running out indeed. But we're not certainly very used to late goals this season in the Premier League that can change games. Even this weekend we've seen some huge goals late on. Villa going to make another change. Ashley Konsa's day is over. Diego Carlos coming on in his place. So a change there. And Ashley Konsa will not be back in action until next weekend, of course. Suspended for that European game after his red card in midweek. So he'll have midweek off. The Spurs are going to make a double change themselves in a moment. But not just yet, I believe. They're going to allow Villa to take this corner first. Less than 5 minutes to go of the 90. Villa 0, Spurs 2. They need a goal around about now, Villa, if they want to get back into the game. And a set piece, all but a perfect chance to do so. And they're putting a lot of pressure on Vicario. A lot of bodies in and around the Spurs keeper. Crowding him out, putting a lot of pressure on him. Look at that. Corner comes in. Flicked on. Cash keeps it alive. The header a bit much. Vicario scrambles it. Not cleared away. It is eventually. Not comfortable there from Vicario. Douglas Luis. Looking for the cross. Blocked off. And has to give it all the way back to his goalkeeper. It's almost on the halfway line there, Martinez. Spreads it wide on the right. Diaby again. Diaby with the cross. Away by Romero. And then Zaniolo battling to win the ball back. Puts a challenge in. And wins a throw in. Nicolo Zaniolo there. They're going to make a double change now, Spurs. Højbjerg and Werner coming on. So those changes. James Maddison's going to be replaced by Timo Werner. So Maddison, who got the opener this afternoon, a lovely cross by Papsar and a nice finish by James Maddison. 5 minutes into the second half, giving Spurs a lead. He's coming off. And then the second one from Brennan Johnson to give Spurs a 2-goal lead in the space of 3 minutes. He's also going to make way. So both goal scorers coming off for Spurs. Johnson and Maddison off. Werner and Højbjerg on in their places for the last few minutes at Villa Park. Where it's more about Spurs just seeing this one out now more than anything else. We do, I believe. We will get team news from Anfield in a moment or two, because I feel that the team news will have dropped any second. And we'll bring that right to you as soon as it's available. Here's at Watkins, making the run in behind. Watkins, ball in, overhit that one, looking for Diaby, but put too much on it. Watkins, and behind for a goal kick. comes to an end. Team news is out from Anfield in that huge game in the fight for the title. And we'll start with Liverpool. They start with Queeveen Kelleher in goal. A back four of Conor Bradley, Jarell Quansah, Virgil van Dijk the captain, and Joe Gomez at left back. A midfield three of Wataru Endo, Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai, so Szoboszlai starts. And a front three of Luis Diaz, Harvey Elliott and Darwin Núñez. Salah is on the bench. For Manchester City, Edison in goal. A back three/back four of Kyle Walker the captain, Manuel Akanji, Nathan Ake, John Stones and Rodri in midfield, alongside Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, with Phil Foden, Alvarez and Haaland the attackers for Manchester City. Kickoff at 3:45. Chance here for Spurs. Ball wide. Off Diego Carlos. Corner, I think, here. Kulusevski the man involved. The ball down the right hand side for Spurs. Son with the early cross, and Carlos can't clear it first time. It bounces off Diego Carlos, and Kulusevski latches onto it, and Carlos got in the way of it just in time and put it behind for the corner. Goal at the London Stadium. Get there in a moment, because Spurs are going to take this corner, and I'll tell you what has happened between West Ham and Burnley in a moment. They're taking the corner short, Spurs. Again, not looking to force the issue. Dragoshin. Last 15 seconds of the 90. We'll find out how long will be added on in the moment. Spurs again. Kulusevski. Linking up. Kulusevski's broke away again. Down the right flank. Kulusevski plays it across, and Son. Heung-min Son. It wouldn't be a Spurs win without him on the score sheet. And he has wrapped it all up for Tottenham. Two quick succession goals at the start of the second half. A red card from Villa, and Heung-min Son to finish it all off. And that puts the icing on the cake for Spurs, but it tops off the dampener of a day for Aston Villa. It will be a day where they could have gone 8 points clear of Spurs in fourth, with Spurs having a game in hand. In the end, they find themselves just 2 points ahead of Spurs, and Spurs a chance, with that game in hand, could snatch fourth place from them. Scoreline is quite convincing. Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 3. Although, we're not going to be finishing anytime soon, because the board has just gone up, and we have 10 added minutes. 10 minutes. What in the holy Jesus? 10 added minutes. And Heung-min Son is joint top, or fifth top goal scorer for Spurs of all time. Joint fifth now in that record. His next goal would take him clear in fifth place in the top scorers in Spurs' history. 159 in all competitions for Heung-min Son in a Spurs shirt. I didn't actually get... Oh, Spurs come again. Son shot straight at Martinez. Didn't update you on what had happened at the London Stadium. It got all caught up. It's just gone half time in those other two games, those two 2 o'clock kickoffs. But that scoreline is not the same at London Stadium, because Burnley have doubled their lead. An own goal by Konstantinos Mavropanos in added time in the first half has doubled Burnley's lead. And, well, that could be huge for them. The last win came on the 23rd of December away at Fulham, which they won 2-0, which was in London. That was their last win, Burnley. That was a long time ago, a few months ago now, and they want to replicate that this afternoon. Half-time at the London Stadium is West Ham 0, Burnley 2. And at half-time at the Amex, it's Brighton who lead by that narrow 1-0, but they have been the better side in that first half against Nottingham Forest, and they do have the scoreline to show for it. Brighton 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Those are half-time scores, by the way, and when we come to the game at Anfield later, we will wrap those games up for you. We'll round off the results from the game at the Amex and at the London Stadium for you. Still time to go in this one. I mean, I don't think there's any question of where the points are going this afternoon at this late stage, but one thing that is for sure is that the race for the top 4, it will continue, most certainly massively, as we enter the final 10 games of the season. 9 games to go it will be for Villa after this one. Sorry, 10 games to go, apologies. 10 games to go for Villa for the rest of the season. 11 for Spurs after this. And still that race for top 4 continues. Will continue to drag on. Another chance, another goal. And it's 4. And it's Timo Werner. Set up by Heung-min Son this time. And Timo Werner with a finish. It's going from worse and worse for Aston Villa, but better and better for Spurs. And that is probably what we were expecting, to be honest, with the long amount of added time that we're going to have. Another goal for Spurs was surely not out of the question. And Timo Werner has got it. 4-0. And they have been absolutely trampled upon in this second 45 minutes, Villa, by Spurs, who were not at the races in the first half, but by God, they have turned that around and changed that atmosphere. The last win against Villa for Spurs was a 4-0 win at Villa Park. Came in April 2022. The goal scorers on that day, Son with a hat-trick and Dejan Kulusevski with the other goal to confirm 4-0 victory for Spurs on that day against Villa. A Villa side that were the better team on that day but couldn't find the finish. But today, I'm sure no one will question that Spurs in this second half have been by far the better side. Villa just haven't stood the test. Porro. We're not giving up yet either, Spurs. 4.5 minutes still to go of the 10 added minutes. I wouldn't say a fifth goal is out of the question. Spurs, those away fans, as I mentioned, haven't enjoyed too many days away in recent times. Last few weeks at the very least. As I said, 1 win out of 6 away from home. The last 6 Spurs. But they'll enjoy this one. A big win against a close rival in what their objectives are for this season. And not just 3 points, but a very convincing 3 points in the end for Spurs it will be. And also goal difference could come into the question, of course. Very much so. At this stage, the goal difference, with Spurs winning by such a margin, a massive swing in the goal difference. Villa had a plus 22 goal difference before kickoff. Spurs had a plus 16. We've had a swing so massive that Spurs now lead the goal difference, plus 20 for Spurs, Villa's plus 18. So a big swing in the goal difference that against Villa and for Spurs. That could also come down to it in the end in this race for the top 4. What's next for these two teams? Well, Villa, as I mentioned, back in European action in midweek on Thursday night. They welcome Ajax to this stadium. That 0-0 draw from the first leg. They win, and they will go through, of course, Villa, by any which means. They then will have a trip to the London Stadium next Sunday at 2 o'clock. Away to West Ham for Villa. Battle of the Claret and Blue next week. And for Spurs, they have another away trip. They are not in action in midweek, of course. No European football for Spurs this season, which has definitely gone in their favour. They're involved next Saturday, though, at 5:30, kick-off at Craven Cottage. They head to Fulham before they welcome Luton in a few weeks' time to the TH. So, a bit to go before the international break for these two teams. Villa will be desperate to bounce back from this very forgetful day. A day that they will certainly want to forget. Here this afternoon, and certainly not a game they'll want to remember. "90 seconds to go then. Spurs just holding the ball, playing it around, running the clock down now. It's about time that we'd got player of the match. And he waited a while. But a lot of players are candidates for Spurs today. I think the whole front four deserve player of the match, but I think Son might just scrape it in the end. His goal and assist added insult to injury, really, for Aston Villa, but cracking indeed. And I think Heung-min Son, for me, will get player of the match. In my opinion, he should. For the impact he's had, but of course, Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, Kulusevski, Sarr, the whole Spurs team today. The first half, they were a bit off the boil, but so were Villa. But in the second half, one team had to step up, and one team really did step up, and that was Spurs. Villa haven't really stepped up anywhere near today. They've had one shot on target all afternoon. You know, they just haven't been at the races today, Villa, on a game where they needed to be at their very best. They needed to avoid defeat, but they haven't done so. And a fantastic display in the second half for Spurs gets them all 3 points at Villa Park in a huge result. A 4-0 win and a clean sheet against 10-man Villa means that Spurs apply even more pressure and close that gap to the top four to just 2 points with a game in hand. Spurs, it's all in their hands at the moment, and a very convincing victory in the end. Maddison with the first, Johnson with the second. McGinn then was sent off for a rash challenge for him, straight red, and then 2 goals in added time from Heung-min Son and Timo Werner wrapped up the victory for Spurs on the road at Villa Park. Final score from Villa Park: Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 4. And don't forget, we will be back in around about 30 minutes time or so, because it's a huge game at Anfield. Salah on the bench. Massive. But what impact will that be on Liverpool and City? We'll find out. Kickoff at 3:45. We're live from 3:30. See you then.